Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be covering Position 4 Magnus. Position 4 Magnus has really risen in popularity as of late, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed this trend. If you've been following the Blast tournament going on right now, I mean, this hero is being picked like crazy, and it's being picked by, honestly, almost every team, seemingly almost every team. So what is good about Magnus? We're going to be discussing that here today. We're going to be following Saksa. He had a lot of insane performances on this hero, some incredible RPs throughout this tournament. So let's take a look at what he does to make this hero look good, and discuss why Magnus can be a good support. On top of that, go sign up to the Game League website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. Okay, so the first thing to cover is base stats. Base stats are very important on support heroes because they determine how good you can trade and how good you are at opening the pull camps or blocking the pull camps. Whichever hero trades better tends to have more control over the pulls. So Magnus, I mean, look at these base stats. Almost 400 mana, 800 health, 6 tangos, 63 damage, not great armor, but 305 movement speed, which is quite good. A hero like Ogre Magi has 290. Magnus is way faster than Ogre. And so yeah, base stats, check, right? This hero has incredible stats. Shockwave, this is one of the best abilities in the game at level 1. It's only 75 mana, it's a movement speed slow, it's a repositioning spell. I mean, this hero does literally everything at level 1, right? It secures the range creep, it trades well, it pulls people out of position, right? And a big thing is it pulls people into creeps. And so in this clip, we don't exactly see it here, but you can imagine if these melee creeps were higher HP, or if this was away from the tower, the Morphling would get pulled into a wave, right? He's getting pulled into this creep and beaten up by the creeps. So Magnus's early laning, very, very solid. You should also be able to pretty reliably block the small camp and keep it blocked because of the fact that you're fast and you trade pretty well. And you'll kind of see it here. This lane Visage Magnus is really devastating. It doesn't look like ogres can die here. I mean, after all, he's full HP, but it's a Visage and it's a Magnus. Repositioning into a Blood Grenade ends up being a kill with the death toll, and that's first blood. And yeah, in terms of starting items, it's going to be branches, circlet, and this is because you're a universal hero. You just want to max out your HP and your damage, so again, you trade very well. For his next item, he picks up a salve. It's pretty common to also buy stick on this hero, just because you do have mana problems if you're spamming your Q. So raindrops are very good, stick is very good, but it seems to me that Saksa values boots on this hero. Oh, this is cool. So this is a quick tip, by the way. When you're playing Magnus, Shockwave sets up for skewer. If you're directly on top of someone and you shockwave them, basically you could skewer them to anywhere. At that point, if you are on top of them and you shockwave them, you basically have free reign to bring them anywhere. And that's what we see here. He walks up, Katomi commits, and once he kind of commits a little bit too hard, I mean, Saksa could have done that at any point. He could have cliffed him at any point. Probably wanted to block the pole camp and cliff him. And so yeah, he was able to cliff the poor Ogre who didn't have TP. And even if Ogre does have TP, this is still a really high impact play because immediately that's 100 gold and 75 mana expended, as well as the ability to just not TP anywhere for the next, 80 seconds? So basically the main objective is to pull people out of position, and best case scenario, you clip them. Second best case, you put them under your tower, and third best, you just pull them in between you and your offlaner, right? Any of these situations are going to be good. They're going to be very devastating. And so yeah, that's what you look for. Then he buys boots. The reason why is it's going to allow you to roam, right? It's going to let you contest runes, go for stacks, and wrap on the enemy mid laner. And this hero is really good at ganking the mid lane because you can take any of the cliffs and pull them under the tower due to how short the mid lane is. So yeah, it's very common to see Magnuses actually gank the mid lane as he goes for another cliff play here. But he gets cold snapped. He's so annoying, dude. I don't know. It's really frustrating that one of the best plays, if not the best play on Magnus, is to cliff people. Like, this is not a joke. It's not a meme to try to cliff people. It is often just the best play in the game, and so you should look for it. So as the game progresses, he doesn't actually end up doing anything for a while. I will admit, I don't think Magnus is the best early game hero. If you're trying to dominate the early game, you're better off picking heroes like Jakiro or Ogre Magi or Muerta, heroes that have more impactful spells. Obviously, you can do a lot with Magnus in the early game. I've watched Magnuses get cliff after cliff and pull the enemy mid laner under the tower, but this game, it's very hard to do that to Invoker due to Cold Snap and Tornado. Enemy Morphling is basically an impossible hero to pressure for Magnus, and so and his safe lane is a Spectre Phoenix lane, and so he wasn't able to do a lot this game, but that's not necessarily a problem. It's actually a reason why I really like Mag and I wanted to make this video. It's one of those heroes where you can play super high tempo and be this heavy ganker, or you can just kind of slow down the pace of the game and play to be a team fighter in the late game, as well as a hero that just naturally gives heavy bonus damage and cleave. I will admit, as we watch him walk around here for a little bit, I don't think they have the best draft with Magnus. It's not bad. They have puck spells on RP. They have Phoenix with RP. Phoenix is great with Magnus, but they definitely lack... Oh, that's a nice skewer. I wonder if they're going to get the kill off this. Invis rune of the skewer? That's nasty. That's nice. But yeah, he doesn't have anyone to empower this game, which is a little sad. Right? It's definitely a little unfortunate. It's really nice to have heroes like Sven or CK or Slark or Dragonite or Alchemist. You know, these heroes that really, or even Morphling, right? It can be fine on heroes like ranged heroes like Morphling that just have incredibly high base stats because Empower gives damage based on your base stats, right? 40%, which is a pretty crazy number for 39 seconds. So in terms of skill build, I don't fully agree with what he does in some games. In fact, he does switch it up. He's maxing Q and Skewer this game, and I think the reason why he's doing that is because of the fact that, again, there isn't very much Empower synergy. However, if there is Empower synergy, you should leave Skewer at level 2. And it's really funny, I didn't even know this. Skewer does bonus damage if you bring them through trees or you hit them on a cliff. I guess that's another reason to cliff them. I really didn't know that until making this video. It's so bizarre. But yeah, you can leave Skewer at level 2 and then max out the Empower. In terms of talents, he actually takes Shockwave slow duration at level 10, and that's honestly, it's just a really good talent, right? It's already a 1 second slow, bringing it up almost to a 1.75 second slow that has incredible cast range and a pretty big radius. So he ends up slowing down the pace of the game, farms for a while. It's minute 18, he's able to get a Blink Dagger, which is a pretty nice timing. His only other items are a Windlace, and by the way, he picked up Eye of the Vizier, which is just a way to get cast range, right? It does cripple your mana pool, so at this point, he basically shouldn't use Shockwave to farm if a fight is going to be breaking out soon because, well, I mean, you just don't have mana. You know, his mana pool is severely lacking at this point, but Blink Dagger up, let's see what he does. So the first thing you need to learn if you want to play Magnus, especially support Magnus, is how to turn RP. So turn RP is where you turn during the RP. Basically how you do it, you'll see it here. You put your mouse in front of them, you blink, and then you move your cursor behind you. This is his cursor. You move it behind you, and then right when you've issued the move command behind you, you right-click to move, then you click RP, and then Magnus will do this turn RP, right? And so once you've done that, you can skewer them immediately into your team. You don't have to do that. You can just RP them, Shockwave them, and then skewer them. However, it's significantly slower, and against heroes like Shadow Demon in the pro scene, if you try to Shockwave skewer, you will not get it. And so you basically have to learn turn RP. And it's really just broken, honestly. It's significantly faster. It's always better to do it, right? There's never a situation not to do it, from my experience. So for his next item, he picks up the Shard. And what the Shard does is it increases the range of Shockwave, so it goes much, much further. It goes all the way up to a 1700 cast range, and it's a huge slow, right? And it also shocks twice, so it slows twice, and it deals 75% of the damage on the way back, so it deals 225 bonus damage. This ability basically becomes a mini Finger of Death on a 10-second cooldown that also slows very significantly, as well as repositions. On top of that, it's really good at killing waves as he snipes mid-wave here, and you can see the double Shockwave plus a couple hits with Empower actually allows him to one-shot the wave as he snipes another courier. You know what? I really love that. I think courier sniping is just hyper underrated. It does end up dying here, but oh my god, he gets another one. Dude, it's so valued because this courier is 75 gold times 5 plus the damage that not having a courier does, which is, I mean, in the late game, guys, huge. It can be 3-4 minutes without impactful items, right? Wards, sentries, smokes on a support or a completed item on a core, and 75 gold times 5, right? That's 375 gold. His death is about the same amount of gold, and so if you snipe 2 or 3 couriers, I mean, the difference is XP at that point. But again, it's more than worth it. And so I think sniping couriers is hyper underrated and should be considered. So this team fight here is kind of a weird one, but I think it's a great example of how good this hero is at just poking and playing slow. The reason why you want to buy the Shard is you don't want to instantly look for an RP in the late game. Typically, if you instantly look for an RP, you're going to either hit one hero or you're going to end up getting canceled when you go in, right? Things like Cold Snap this game, there's Disruption, there's even just Centaur Stun, Morphling Stuns, or Morphling Shift Stun. You know, it's just hard. And so instead, what he can do is just click Q, right? And clicking Q, again, it's really, really high impact. You want to continue to empower your cores, so buy Clarities, and you want to click Q at the beginning of the fight. He broke the smoke here, which is not best case scenario. He has to expend his blink, but he clicks his Shockwave, and it puts the Centaur quite a bit out of position, right? This ability is it's just annoying. Then from there, he has to wait, continuing to play the outside, being patient, throws a blood grenade, which is honestly comical. But okay, throws a blood grenade. He's really good about throwing blood grenades. And the Shadow Demon blinks in to secure a gem. At this point, look at how far the Shockwave pushes the SD. I mean, it's just stupid. This ability is some incredible reposition tool by itself. And then he hits a big skewer, pulling the SD out of position, throws a blood grenade, which is, again, kind of funny. And I think he did misplay here, I will admit. I think his best play is skewer and instantly run away. At this point, he should run to here, wait for his blink to come back up, and look for the next opportunity to click Q and click RP. And I think he would have been able to secure this fight for his team. Unfortunately, he ends up dying, so he has to buy back, but whatever, the buyback actually comes into play here. RP's the Morphling, secures that kill. Probably wasn't needed, to be perfectly honest, but whatever. And it's a huge team fight win for Tundra. And also another example of maybe good fighting that, I mean, it's hard to exactly say when the best RPs are for solo RPs. Typically, solo RPs are best late game on hyper carries. Heroes like Morphling that, you know, in this game, the Centaur is existing to enable the Morphling, right? Almost completely. And so solo RPs are more reasonable. Against Shadow Demon, it's a little bit suspect. Thankfully, in this case, the SD was not that close. And so they almost kill the Morphling from full before he even gets saved. Also, by the way, at level 15, he took 12 all stats per hero hit with RP. A lot of Magnuses are taking this. It just lets you be tanky. After you hit RP. On core Magnus, it gives you a lot of damage. As support Magnus, it's kind of weird, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of prefer skewer cooldown. I don't know, I find it a bit weird to take this on support, but I mean, sure, it makes you tanky after RP. It lasts for 20 seconds. So for his next item, he buys Ags. There's a lot of items you can buy. You can buy any of the utility items, Solar Crest, Drums, Force Staff, Glimmer. Glimmer can help you find good angles for RP, Drums for positioning and just kiting around the Q. You can buy an Aether Lens so you have better blink cast range and better Q cast range. I mean, there's plenty of different builds you can go. A lot of people do a lot of different things. He decides to rush Ags this game, which fine. If you don't know what the Ags does, basically it gives you a stun that puts them behind you. So it's like doing a turn RP, but it does it for you. And so it's really easy to just find skewers, these aggressive skewers out of the base. And this is where Mag becomes kind of an overpowered hero. When your team gains map control and you have good vision, Mag is honestly maybe the best hero in the game. Because a hero like Tiny, in order for him to reposition, needs his team, right? He needs someone nearby. Magnus does not need that. He can just set up with the Horn Toss into the skewer and allow his team to find a kill. And so in this clip here, what happened? Why didn't this work? So typically you cast the Ags, then you cast the skewer. Oh, the Puck W pulled him out of it. Oh, that's really unfortunate. That's really, really unfortunate. Should look for the Shockwave, which also misses, unfortunately. And now, again, you just wait for your blink. With the Ags, you do your combo, you click your Q, and then you wait, right? You want to kite out, kite out, kite out. You should never be constantly just running in the middle of the fight with this hero. There's no point. Do not auto attack. It's just never worth it. At level 20, you take Shockwave damage, and that's because it lets you one-shot Great Waves. It's actually one of the best talents in the game, funny enough, just because of the shard. Being able to one-shot waves from 1700 cast range is it's pretty good, let me tell you. It's not bad. In the late game, being able to clear waves from a safe distance is one of the best things a hero can have, and Magnus, well, just has that. So you can see why this hero is insane in the late game. Team fight, 40% bonus damage and cleave for carries, repositioning, a 3.5 second BKB piercing stun, insta clearing waves. I mean, Magnus literally does everything in the late game. I mean, this hero is just a beast. The hardest part is hitting RPs, which again, the reason why I like him as a support is because you're going to have other tanky heroes on your team that can go in, give vision, break out the fight, create chaos, and let you find good angles. Now this team fight shows how good of a player Soxa actually is, or how much he's thinking about the late game. In this clip here, an obvious 2-man RP instantly comes up here, and he hesitates. Why would you ever hesitate on a 2-man RP, right? Especially when it's this close to your team. Well, you might just be afraid that your team isn't ready to follow up. After all, the Puck isn't looking, and again, there isn't that much follow-up to RP this game. So he decides to hesitate until his Spectre is able to kind of walk towards them, which sort of ends up happening here, and they honestly weren't on the same page. The Spectre should have ran towards the RP instantly. The Puck probably should have switched targets a little bit faster. They end up connecting, and now he has to try to kite out. Goes for the Horn Toss, unfortunately misses. At this point, you just play around the Shockwave, and it's a pretty solid fight. And yeah, that's going to be about all for today's video. A big reason why you buy Aether Lens as your next item is just so you can have that cast range on the Blink Dagger, so you can set up for your Horn Toss. But yeah, Magnus is a really strong hero. It's a little bit difficult to play, but hopefully this video makes it a lot easier. As you can see, in terms of hitting a good RP, it's mainly about being patient and playing around your Q. If you have good patience, you're going to find a lot of angles. The Horn Toss. The Axe is just an incredible radius. It really is. And so yeah, this hero, late game menace, incredible scaling, wonderful team fight, and wonderful wave shove. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.